Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Data Over Ego. I'm your host, Jacob Chandler, and today we're going to be covering what all goes into the Facebook ads algorithm so you can help gamify it to scale your business and have better ads. So, what really goes into it, there's three major things. One of the things is obviously your bidding strategy. There's many different kinds I can kind of go over today and talk more in depth about. So, that's one of the major things. The second thing is the estimated action rate. So that goes into what is your conversion rate on your website? What is the click-through rate on the ad and how people are actually interacting it? And then the third one is user value. Are you actually adding value to the users? And is that benefiting Facebook's different, technically, users, customers that are using their platform every day? Obviously, as an advertiser, you're the customer, but is it affecting their users? Because when it comes down to it, Facebook really wants their users to have a good experience, so they stay on the platform. So if you're giving the users on Facebook, on Instagram, a good experience with your ads and on your website, and they're reacting and buying from your website at a higher rate than most websites, that's going to help you out, and it's obviously going to help your ads out, and Facebook's going to reward you for that. So the first thing that goes into the algorithm is bidding strategy. And a good one here, and the one that we use most frequently, I would say 95% of the time, is the highest value slash lowest cost. Some people just know it as lowest cost. Facebook changes its name every year. They keep lowest cost in it, but they keep adding something else. So highest value, lowest cost. It's the same thing. So this is the one for you if you're looking to really scale up your spend. Most of the other bid strategies tend to limit your impressions. So if you really need to spend your budget and try to scale up your ads as much as possible, this is the strategy for you. And what it really does is it takes the chains off your ads, and whatever your budget is, it's going to spend it with this regardless, because this is just going out there and trying to get as many people as it can and give you the most value for your budget. This is what we use 95% of the time with our ads, and it is the most effective strategy and the best for the brands that are already kind of have some traction. Now, we have one other strategy I'll talk about later when it comes to bid strategy that if you're on a limited budget, I would recommend testing that out before this one to kind of get your feet wet. But if you're an established brand, this is the strategy and bid strategy that you need to be using. I wouldn't recommend using any of the other ones just because it's not really going to be worth your time. It's just going to basically limit your impression share, and you're not going to be getting in front of everybody. And when you're not getting that impression share, you're not getting the test results that you actually need to learn what works and what doesn't work in your account. So the next strategy is target costs. So this one doesn't scale well. So with this strategy, you're telling Facebook, hey, I want you to go out there and get me a cost per acquisition of $20. So I want you to get a purchase from my website for $20. And basically what this strategy does and what Facebook told us as an agency is that it kind of eliminates the people that it thinks are going to buy below $20, probably like 18 below, and removes them, and it removes the people above $20. So it's really trying to just hone in on those people that are in that $20 range, which kind of limits the impression share. But we've just seen it countless times when we tested this out that it doesn't really get seen as much as it should. So you may say, Facebook, I want you to spend $100 on this ad or this campaign that you're using the target cost strategy on, and it may only spend, $40, $50. The first few days, it may spend the full budget as it's learning. But once it's kind of learned enough data, it's not going to spend the budget, and it's going to keep spending less and less money unless you change the target cost. So I don't recommend using this one. So we can keep moving on. BidCap, it's another one where basically it doesn't really scale well. This one may help you get some of the low hanging fruit. Some of those people that may have been to your website that want to come back, or some of those people that Facebook just knows, hey, they're going to be somebody that's going to purchase from your brand. But it's not really going to help you. You're not going to be able to scale this up at all. It's pretty similar to the past one with target costs. You're just saying, Facebook, hey, I don't want you spending over this amount. And what's going to happen is those people that are using the lowest cost strategy or highest value strategy, the first one I talked about, they're going to constantly be outbidding you, and you're not going to get the impression share that you actually need to to grow your business and to have this actually be an effective campaign for you. So another one, cost cap. You get to basically pick your CPA, and Facebook will work to spend as much money as possible. This is the one I recommend that if you necessarily are on a low budget, you're kind of very risk averse, you don't want to really give Facebook all of the money. You want them to say, hey, I want you to get the most results for me that you can with my budget, even if you don't spend it all. Uh, but be as efficient as possible. This would be the one I would recommend. But again, it's not going to scale up. But basically, what it's doing is you're telling Facebook, hey, I want to reach this certain CPA goal, this cost per acquisition goal. I want you to spend as much as you can as long as you're reaching that. And then once they stop reaching that, they stop showing impressions and you're not going to show up anymore. But if you're new and you want to start with something, you could start with cost cap before moving over to lowest cost, highest value. But that's just what you kind of need to know here. Is that this is our second favorite, but then again, we never really use it. I would use it if I was a new brand, but yeah. So that's what goes into bidding strategy. We recommend highest value, lowest cost. If you're new, cost cap. You don't really need to do a whole lot with the other ones. We've spent over $25 million on ads, probably at least $500,000 minimum on each strategy, figuring out if it works or not. And the ones that worked and what we've spent 95% of our budget on has been highest value, lowest cost, because that's really unleashing the chains from the ads and letting Facebook's algorithm do what it does best, and that's finding new customers. Okay, and then so another thing that goes into Facebook's algorithm is the estimated action rate. So what type of people have bought from you before? It's looking at all these different things. What type of people engage with your page? What type of people clicked on your link? It's kind of looking at your recent ad activity and trying to figure out, okay, this is what that person's into. Let me see if I can find other people on the platform that are also into that. So they can try to figure out what people are going to actually take an action. Because when Facebook's running ads and say you're using the highest value bidding strategy, it's trying to find those people that look similar to the ones that already made a purchase from you and took the action that you want. Because it's trying to obviously give you the best results possible so you spend more money. And it's also saying, hey, this person provided a really good amount of value to these other people. They were happy with their purchase. I should reward them for that. So other things that go into the estimated action rate is, and that can hurt you, would be, do customers like your company? So what a lot of people don't realize is Facebook will send out a survey on Facebook to past purchases of your brand, and it ranks you on a 0 to 5 scale. 5 being you're in good standings, 0 being, hey, they hated the service, they hated the product. And what they'll do, they'll ask them, hey, did you like the customer service? Did you like the product? Did you have a good experience with them? And over time, you're going to have a grade. And if you're doing really well, your grade's going to be a 5. But if you're doing poor, you're going to be at a 2.5 or a 2. And what happens is when you fall below a 2 out of the 5 on the scale, they start actually hurting you. They start hurting your account. So you actually get penalized for that. So what that means is your cost per impression is going to go up. And once you're under a 2 for 2 weeks straight, they may even ban your account. So that's where it's really, really important that you give your customers a good experience when they buy from you. Otherwise, you're going to be paying more from your ads, and eventually you'll just get banned from the platform if people think your customer service is shit, if they think your product is shit. They think that if you do an awful job, Facebook's gonna, they're gonna penalize you for that, and they'll penalize you heavily up to the point where they just kick you off the platform, where you won't be able to run ads anymore. But other things that go into this is the age of your page. If your page has been around longer and you've been answering comments, you've been answering all of your messages, Facebook's gonna reward you for doing those things. So the healthier your organic page is, the better your ads are gonna do. So that's the estimated action rate. They kind of get an idea of, hey, are people going to interact with this ad? And the better you do at creating ads over time, the better your ads obviously are going to be doing. But yeah, so that's the estimated action rate. And the third thing that goes into the algorithm is user value. So there actually are people hired by Facebook to review your ads, to approve them, and they give them a score, and they'll give you like a relevance score. So if you're actually going out there and creating ads that are relevant to people, that people are bound to click on, and they're not using spammy, crappy copy that looks like you're selling like a drop shipping product per se. They're going to reward you for that. And it's actually real people, for the most part, reviewing your ads and giving them a score. So the spammier you make them, the worse your score is going to be. And then another thing that affects your CPM to a large extent that a lot of people just kind of don't really think about. Most people think, most advertisers think, hey, if I make this ad as good as possible, it's bound to do well. But the big thing that a lot of people forget about is making that landing page a really great page. The higher your bounce rate is, the higher your CPM is going to end up being over time, just because Facebook wants people to go to a page and they want people to see what those people are expecting. So say they click an ad and they go to a landing page where it doesn't kind of jive and they leave right away, Facebook's going to recognize that and see that they came back right away and think, hey, maybe something's up on that page and this isn't a good advertiser for us. So that eventually you're going to start paying a higher cost per impression because of that. So it's really, really, really important that when you're creating ads, that you also understand that your landing page needs to be optimized as well. That way you're not kind of penalizing yourself and Facebook isn't penalizing you for that. But that's a huge thing for them, is that post-click experience. So those are the three main things that go into the algorithm. I just want to touch on a few more things. I know we get a lot of questions about scaling ads and what scaling ads means. So there's a lot out there about, some people will say, hey, to scale your campaigns, if say you already have an interest that's working, duplicate it into a new ad set under a campaign. And guys, that's total bullshit. All scaling really is in an account is increasing your budgets for various ads that have winning creative, that are able to sell a different story to different audiences at different stages of the funnel. And that's that's all scaling is, right? So if you have a good product, it's finding different audiences for that product and different ads for those audiences, finding what works, and then scaling the budget up to those audiences. It's not duplicating an audience that's already working with the creative. That's not what scaling is, and that doesn't work. It may work short term sometimes it doesn't. Trust me, we've tested it out because we've heard so many people say it works. And it does work sometimes, right? But all scaling is you really just need to keep testing different audiences and finding what works. Then once you find those audiences that work, test different ads to them. And once you start figuring out, you have 2, 3, 4, 5 different creatives that work to those audiences, you start increasing the budget. Then you do the same thing. You find some more interest, you find some other lookalikes that you can use, and then you scale the budgets up to those audiences. And the best way really to do that is with campaign budget optimization. So that's new. I know if you're not using it yet, I'm publishing this in early 2020, so it's about to be mandatory. But we've been using it for the past year just because we knew Facebook was going to be migrating everybody to campaign budget optimization. And what it is, it basically, you have your campaigns out there, you have your prospecting, your retargeting, your retention, whatever. And what this does is you kind of pool those audiences together, and you're giving Facebook's algorithm, who's going to be way better at bidding than you are, to go out there and say, hey, these are the audiences I want to target. Here's say $1,000. You spend it accordingly to get the highest value for me and get the lowest cost for me. That's basically what it's doing, and you're really trusting Facebook's algorithm to do that. So a lot of you may still be manually changing your budgets, and you can do that if you want still for now. They're about to be shifting everybody over to campaign budget optimization. I'm just going to tell you now, guys, that it works better than you probably will, because this thing's constantly looking at it. You may look at the account once, twice, 3 times a day, maybe once every 2, 3 days. This thing's constantly looking at it and tweaking where your budget's going based on the time of day, the age, the interest, all of that, tweaking the budgets for you so you don't have to, and it's going to do a way better job than you. And the thing is, it's only going to keep getting better as the algorithm keeps learning more and more and more about your campaigns and the ad sets and the ads within them. So I really, really, really recommend you using that. But yeah, so that's the things that go into the Facebook ads algorithm. There's definitely more that goes into it. Those are the 3 big things. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, I'm Jacob Chandler. This is Data Over Ego. I would love for you to leave a comment below. like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to learn more about me, my agency is Prolific Media. We spent over $25 million on ads to generate over $150 million for our clients. I also blog over at Data Over Ego. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to chat. Until next time, guys, cheers.